Hello, fellow expecting yogis. I'm Sarah Ezrin. I am 19 weeks, so I am almost halfway through. This is my second pregnancy, and I'm really excited to share this flow with you. Let's be a little prop heavy today, so have some blankets, have some blocks, a bolster, maybe even a strap, and we'll start in Sukhasana. Come to a cross-legged position, the right ankle in front of the left. Flex the ankle strongly. I know the joints can get a little tender during pregnancy, so feel free to pad up with extra blankets or rolled socks. And then let's reach the arms straight out in front of us. Interlace the fingers, flip the palms inside out, and then slowly as you inhale, begin to reach the arms overhead. So we use these initial postures really anytime we flow, but especially in this journey of pregnancy, to ground and to anchor ourselves into the present moment. Pregnancy is such a time of anticipation. It's hard to kind of be in the moment, but because it goes so fast, it is really a lovely thing to just be grounded in. Sometimes. As you're leaving the first trimester, reach up through the thumbs, pull the pinky edge towards you, and just breathe. And then we're going to lower the arms back out in front of us, unflip the palms. Let's switch the crossing of the legs. So the left shin is in front of the right. Reach both arms out in front. Do the other finger on top. So that's switching the clasp a little bit. Both arms reach, both palms press, and then we'll inhale the arms overhead. Something interesting, right, in pregnancy is that we end up in a lordotic tilt. That's just the nature of the uterus growing and the belly expanding. So any work we can do, whether we're sitting or we're going to do it in table in a moment, to align our spine. Not that you're trying to pull in or round. You want to maintain the arch a little bit, but anything you can do where you stack the pelvic floor and the diaphragm and the crown of the head is just really nice, simple, but powerful work to strengthen the spine. And then we'll lower the arms down, release that. Let's come forward to hands and knees. So, if you need any props right now, again, have them nearby or get them out of the way. And then let's sit up for hovering table. Wrist under shoulders, knees below hips. Curl the toes under. We're going to lift the knees in a second, but before we even do that, hug your baby up towards your spine, then float the knees off the floor a few inches. And honestly, less is more here. If you lift your knees up too high, the bum kind of sticks up. We tend to arch. So see how low you can keep the shins with them continuing to hover. And then as we hold this shape, what you're noticing starting to engage, I'm sure you feel it, is the deepest abdominal muscle, our transverse abdominis, which is like a corset. It's like a little hammock pulling up and in the belly towards the spine. From here, we'll hold one more breath. And then we're going to come into down dog from here. First, reach back, hovering child, and slowly straighten out your legs. You may need to lengthen out the stance a little bit. You may want to pedal or nod or sway, any of the movements. Like so many things get creaky, things you don't even know existed before, parts of joints. So use your time on your mat to really take care of you. And then from here, we're going to inhale towards plank. We're not going to hold plank for a long time because sometimes the downward pressure of the belly can be too much. So instead, supported plank is generally recommended. And then you can feel once the knees are down, that same gentle lift of the lower abdominals. We're going to do a chaturanga prep position here. Take a big breath in. Exhale, lower halfway. And then inhale back to plank. So a lot of the back bends are also kind of something we try to avoid because we're already so arched. Two more, exhale. So you can squeeze these in lieu of a traditional vinyasa. You can do a bunch in a row. We got one more coming. Exhale halfway. Inhale back to the plank, supported. Inhale, full plank. And exhale to your down dog. All right, let's walk the hands to the feet at the back of the mat. Probably having to widen the feet more than you're used to. Inhale halfway. Bring the hands onto the hips and very slowly stand all the way up. All right, let's come to the top of the mat. So we're gonna set up for figure 4 chair. Make sure the feet are hips wide. So you're starting in a wide chair. Inhale, bend the knees. I like to start with hands in prayer just for balance, because as we know, things get a little bit skewed. And then we'll pick the right ankle up and cross it over the left thigh. And if you have a wall nearby, feel free to use it. If you want to stay in this prayer position, go for that as well. If you're feeling like you have the extra energy to give to it today, feel free to reach both arms overhead and really work to keep the left hip pulling in and the inner right knee lengthening out. So you have both this strengthening of the left thigh, outer hip, and the lengthening of the right inner thigh. And then reaching through the arms, that same long spine we were looking for in plank and table and sitting in every pose. It's really Tadasana. Wide chair pose, feet on the floor. So you can go right into your second side here, left ankle on top, or feel free to pause in chair first. And then same thing, right? Hands can be in prayer, hand on a wall, arms overhead. You can do something different on this side. Listen to your body. And then not that we're not playing with depth, but rather than thinking low in the legs, think more back, and that's going to help engage the outer hip on the right side, inner left thigh lengthening. From here, both feet on the floor, wide chair, sit one more inch, and we'll inhale to rise, and exhale, pull the hands to the heart. You may need a couple extra breaths, breathing in and out. We are literally breathing for 2. Our blood oxygen increases by, I think, 50%. Don't quote me, but it increases a lot. So if you find yourself breathless, reach the arms out. You honor that and you just take more. All right, hands on hips. Let's up for Parsva Konasana. Turn the right leg out. Angle the back foot in. I'm a fan of heel to heel. If that feels unstable, feel free to go a little wider. And then slowly on the exhale, bend your front knee. And we're gonna interlace the hands behind the back. Now I'm able to interlace. Some of us may need a strap for that. You can always keep hands on hips. Really listen to the body. Any mild back bend and heart opener we can get throughout our practice, really take advantage of, because so much of our energy is being slumped forward. Lifting the chest. Exhale, Parsva Konasana, side angle. And we're only coming as far as we feel like we can maintain the length in the spine. The head isn't doing anything funny. The face isn't doing anything funny. And of course, the breath is established and smooth. You can look up to the sky or down, anywhere that lengthens the neck. Taking one more breath. And then let's come all the way up. Free the arms for a pause. Hands on hips, straighten out the legs. Parallel the feet. We're going to go to the other side. Turn the left leg out, right leg in, heel to heel, and bend deeply. When you take the hands behind the back, let's do that other interlace position. So one finger over is the clasp. Take a moment upright, lift the chest. And unlike Humble Warrior, where the torso folds at the hips, we're laterally flexing, leaning over the front thigh. Side body movement is really crucial during pregnancy because, again, everything kind of gets favored, obviously, forward or even back. And as much as we can get into the side body, it helps to support the changing shapes of the spine. So breathe a little deeper, bend a little more. Maybe the chin drops slightly. Maybe the gaze is up or down or straight ahead. One more pause. And then we'll lift the torso up, free the arms, straighten out both legs, parallel the feet. You can heel toe your feet a little closer and step yourself all the way in. All right, returning to the top of the mat, little chair sequence. Once again, have the feet apart and probably throughout your pregnancy. That's for balance, that's for space for baby. Feet hips wide, inhale, Utkatasana, the chair. So like we were doing in the figure 4, shift back, weights in the heels, hips are heavy, and then pick your left leg up off the ground, hover it an inch. You'll notice everything kind of swings right. Instead, let the right hip hug in. See if you can lower your thigh a little more so you're sitting into it, and then just breathe, inhale. We're gonna go through third warrior position. From here, push off the standing leg, lightly reach the left leg back, hold, you may fall. I do, that's okay. Hands in prayer, breathing. And then come right back to that chair position. So you're hovering the left leg, the arms lift, both feet down. We'll press to rise and bring the hands to the heart. Okay, second side. Inhaling, bend both knees. Sometimes I think having the wall closer is like a mental block. But anyway, let's lift the right leg up, float it off the floor an inch, hug the outer left hip in no hurry to go back through the shape, because we want to strengthen the legs first and then go back to your third warrior position, balancing, breathing. Maybe hands are in prayer, maybe they're reaching out, maybe you need them on the floor. And then from here, we'll come back to the hovering chair pose. The right leg is lifted, arms up, both feet down. Stand up and bring the hands to the heart. Putting that into a flow. I'm gonna get away from my wall. All right, so just meaning on the breath. Here we go. Inhale, wide chair. Pause as you exhale. Inhale, pick the left leg up. Exhale, go back through third warrior position. Pausing, breathing. It's okay to wobble. What do we do in response? Back to hovering chair. Leg is lifted. Both feet down. Let's go right into the second side. Inhale first. And then we'll lift left knee, right knee, right knee. And slowly go back through the third warrior position. Anywhere the arms need to be, breathe. Back to the hovering chair on the inhale, both arms reach. The feet down, sit a little deeper, and let's fold on the exhale. Inhaling, Ardha Uttanasana, lengthen forward, stepping directly back to downward facing dog. And then maybe the most advanced shape we're gonna do today, sitting on our heels and resting in Vajrasana. So as we rest here, take a time not just to connect to yourself, but also what's happening with baby, what's happening on the deeper levels beyond the physical body, right? Energetically. It may feel like you need a little refill here, and that's something we want to honor. And then we'll just take a few more breaths here. We are in no hurry. Just because it's a strong practice, it just means we have to have more of those rests built in. All right. We're going to come into an Ustrasana variation, a camel pose variation. So stand up onto the shins. So deep back bending, as we talked about, may be a little too much for the abdominals, as they're separating anyway in birth or pregnancy. So instead, what we'd like to do is a milder back bend in the uppermost part of the spine. And then what we're gonna add in is a little variation of shifting back. So the weight goes into the shins. This is amazing at strengthening the legs. Lift the chest a little more. And then lift the torso back up to upright. Exhale, sit your bum down. So it's almost like Laghu Vajrasana, if you're familiar with that. We're just shifting back. Here we go again, stand up. First, pop the heart up. Make sure the lower back is long. And then we're shifting back, not by the bum sticking out, but by dropping back with the hips. You can also do this with the knees a little bent, with the hips a little bent, but the weight goes back slightly. Supported with our legs, full breath in. Come on back up and sit yourself back down. The cool thing about being at home is you can do as many of those as you want. Otherwise, we're gonna keep moving along here for time. And so we're setting up for Ekapada Raja Kapotasana, right? A very well-deserved outer hip stretch. I'm gonna use lots of props for this. So I got one bolster going across horizontally. I'm gonna use this blanket here vertically. That's gonna go under my left knee. And then here's how we're setting up. So you can have your left shin, left knee on the blanket. Step the right foot around the bolster as best you can. It may require some maneuvering. And then we'll come on into our pigeon pose from here, Ekapada Raja Kapotasana. As you heel toe the right leg over, don't worry. I know perhaps when you aren't pregnant, you're trying to get your shin level to the front of the mat. I mean, I don't even recommend that not during pregnancy, but especially in pregnancy when the joints are extra flexible, less is more. And we'll have 2 blocks out in front of us. So you do have a little mild chest opener propped up, and just breathe. You want to be high enough that the belly is free in between the bolster and the leg. But again, some of you are at earlier points in your pregnancy, or you're not showing as much, where you can maybe even walk forward and put your head on something. Listening to your body. It may feel good, especially after that last pose, to curl the toes under, lengthen through the left leg a few breaths. And then just get settled in the pause. These precious moments where we really don't have anything to do because everything is already happening within us. We'll come out slow, walk the hands up. All right, so coming out of this is gonna be tricky. It may be easiest to sit on the bolster, swing your leg around, and then find your way to the other side. Some of you may be able to bring your leg back, get creative, and let's prepare for opening up the left leg. So now I moved the blanket over to the right. My right knee and shin will go on there. Stepping the left foot around the bolster, the best of your ability, and heel toeing the leg back towards you. Remember, it's okay if it's not parallel to the front of the space. Make your hips being symmetrical way more important than what the knee is doing. And we'll come down onto our elbows. I like 2 blocks. Find what works for you. Maybe curl the back toes under, lift the back knee. Inhale, reach the chest. And then you can drop your head in repose while keeping the chest up. And maybe release the back knee and the back toes as we rest. Ekapada Raja Kapotasana, one-legged pigeon. And breathe. And if you want to stay longer, I honor that, you honor that. Simply press pause, be here as long as you need. And we'll come on up slowly, carefully. So we could go back, right, by bringing the leg back. Just know that you may get caught. That's another addition. Or you swing your leg around. Really get creative. There's no one way. And then as we set up for our final resting shape, we're going to use our 2 blocks, setting up for a supported fish pose. Supported Matsyasana, and using that top block, have it a little bit higher than the middle one. I know some of us backbenders like to make this one even shorter, but remember, less is more, milder is better. We'll see how this bun works out. Laying back, get the shoulder blades onto the block, move your hair if it's in the way. And then the base of the skull is on that very first one. Now release the arms by your side. Keep your knees bent for a second. Just pause. Take a few breaths and observe, because as we get a little bit further along in the pregnancy, sometimes even laying in a reclined position can be too much. So if you're starting to feel breathless or dizzy, or there's any indication this is not your shape, I recommend laying on your side, your left side. All right, but if no alarm bells are going off, you're getting the green light from your body and baby, stretch both legs out. You can let the elbows hang, close the eyes. In a perfect world, This would be at least 3 minutes, at least, hopefully 5, maybe 7. But just for time's sake and this video's sake, we're just gonna be here for a moment or two. Let it be a marker and maybe an opportunity to choose to take a longer rest for yourself. So again, please, please pause the video, stay as long as you need. 2, come out when you're ready. We'll bend the knees again, feet on the floor. Roll over to the left side. Generally in pregnancy, we want to favor our left side. Pause. And then let's press up to sitting. Sit in the exact same position you began in, but observe how much has shifted. I mean, let alone what's happening within you, the growth, the nature, the miracle that is happening inside of your belly and your baby. Thank you all so much for practicing with me. I look forward to seeing you again very soon. Lots of love. Namaste.